The views and opinions expressed on From the Mouths of Madness are that of the panel and not of the Geeks Under the Influence Network or their sponsors. Listeners, beware. I'm straight from the Mouths of Madness. I'm Lowdown. With me, as always, is
F.U. Hunter. What's up, you nostalgic ass bitches? Yeah,
nostalgic ass bitches. That's right.
we're about to go down that road.
I am nostalgic for that. Never. Anyway, it's been 4 fucking years, Hunter, since we started Madness. Came up with the idea. I know, it's been a long time. Consistent. We've been consistent.
It's been fucking long.
This year's been a little but it's been consistent.
Yeah.
It was April,
we Zoom called
it was
that
August 19th, I believe, when Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark dropped, which was technically an On the Chopping Block, but we made it a full episode.
Yeah.
Right?
That was true.
That was...
You and me, we did a full episode. Oh, there was a third person.
Oh, yeah, hold on. There was a third person.
You and me watched the movie.
So we decided, we had this great idea for an episode, but we decided it's going to be the 4th year anniversary episode. We need to bring back the man who has not been on since the pilot episode of From the Mouths of Madness, and that would be Kyle Smash.
What's up, buddy?
Now,
hold on.
You might remember
we actually had him on that episode
2019.
Wait, yes, and I'm here.
The first episode,
and I'm here to passionately come in the mouth of madness.
You did that on the pilot.
Well, keeping up with tradition.
We were doing a review on
tradition.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and the man showed up and had not yet watched the movie.
Shut right down.
He was going off the
trailer.
Was going off the trailer, and hence the name of the episode. He said during the panel, he was like, "Oh yeah, you mean the guy with the bat?" We're talking about Tommy. I'm like, "Yes, Kyle."
I remember that from the trailer. Yeah.
Holy shit. So the whole movie, Hunter and I are just going in about this and that, and I was like, "Oh, they didn't show that in the trailer." Yeah, no shit, they didn't show it in the trailer.
Kyle seemed very excited to see this movie that we were reviewing.
Oh wait, and you have since watched it. What'd you think of the film, Kyle?
It was good. It was good.
Fucking ass.
I think I actually watched it over the pandemic. It was pretty good. It's late on in the pandemic.
Would you not agree? Because we didn't have this concept really fleshed out during the pilot.
Right.
That is a great intro to horror film.
Yeah, I mean, if depending on what age you are, like I know,
I'm saying like 13.
Yeah, I think it's good. I know my daughter has recently gotten really into horror, like big time. She's got all kinds of fucking posters now she's into, and that's it. It's a good time. She's a little more advanced in terms of scary movies she's watched. But if you're gonna start someone out and be like, all right, you want to watch something? It's like, Are You Afraid of the Dark, but on steroids.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially.
Which Are You Afraid of the Dark is basically.
That's essentially what Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is. Like, there's a little bit of like like you said, steroids. It's just that next level, but it's like literally the next level, the one up. It's not like going from that Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps to fucking like 6 levels up.
Yeah. It's all 4, kid.
There you go.
Yeah, he cut what off?
Yeah, exactly. Wait, he's glued to the seat? Oh God, no. But
I'll always remember
got to rip
my
himself
daughter.
away.
Accidentally coming in, we were doing our presentation at fucking GalaxyCon.
Oh yeah,
and she walked in right when we were showing clips, and we're showing the Hellraiser clip, and it's when the fucking hooks are in the dude's face.
Jesus,
and
left,
I hear my 4-year-old go, "What's wrong with his face?" I went, "Oh man,
shit.
Yeah, that's way too young for Hellraiser." Yep. Holy shit!
She just walked right back in right when that scene. I could hear her, and I went, "Oh my god!"
So you know what I was recently told by her? She goes, we're talking about horror movies. She goes, I mean, I've been watching it forever. I'm like, what are you talking about?
You think she's going to tell you?
Yeah, I was like, you don't know which. Well, yeah, but I mean, especially early on, I mean, I could keep a handle on it.
Mm-hmm.
A little more difficult now. But I was like, you don't
know.
know.
How often did you sneak shit when you were a kid, Kyle?
Well, it depends. I mean, at the age of 8 and 9, I had siblings where she doesn't. So, like, my brother we shared a room, so he's 2 years older, so he was brought, he introduced me to horror.
Mm-hmm.
He really introduced, like, even phases of death and all of that stuff.
Oh, God, Phases of Death.
Just sit and watch that shit all the time. So he got me into it really early on. With her, she goes, surprisingly enough, she's like, she used to sneak down when we had Walking Dead nights. Like, early on Walking Dead, when it was just, like, still, the shit.
Mm-hmm.
And she would come to, like, sometimes she would come down, I'd put her to bed.
I remember that.
But she goes, what you guys didn't know is that I would then quietly sneak and watch the show with you. And right before the credits rolled, I would crawl up upstairs.
Aw. You know, okay.
And I was like, that's quite sweet, but maybe explain some things.
As my perspective, and then I got to actually give the intro this fucking episode. That is so sweet to me, A, not being the parent. B, that means I've actually had a lot of those moments watching Walking Dead with also Lorelai, which is fucking awesome. Because no, like she wasn't a factor in the viewing at the time, and having her added to it is kind of cool.
She
like
was watching adjacent.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like it was cool. Like, oh, like as she grew up, the years of watching Walking Dead,
Yeah.
you know, she
Once I found out it was good.
Yeah.
Once they honestly establish, they know that it's fake.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what? Okay, so she walked away. If I found out Mesa came down and watched Strangers, we'd have a fucking problem.
Oh, yeah.
That's gonna fuck her up. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Before I dive into what tonight's episode is going to be about, please, would you like, share, comment, rate, review, subscribe, any other thing that social media happens, stuff, things
You can talk some shit.
Yeah,
Bring it.
Talk shit. Yeah,
Bring it.
Now, if you do talk shit, in fair play, all three of us, but especially the two hosts, are very good at shit talking. So you best bring A game.
Even if you
Just saying.
Well, I just wonder if you disagree on some of our opinions.
No,
you know?
no.
Yeah, bring
disagree.
it.
But I mean, if
Bring
you
it.
want to shit talk and you understand the rules of the camaraderie of
Right.
shit talking, because you can shit talk without
similar
being
to
a dick.
It's similar to being in a mosh pit, or I guess an old school mosh pit. It's been a
Yeah,
long time
you
for me.
That's still the same. You pick the fucking dude up.
Right.
No one tries to actively hurt each other.
Yeah.
That's the same with shit talking. So if you are that person, which especially the two Yankees in the room, I am fucking down, bro. Let's go. That'd be fun.
But everybody, we love you.
Yeah. We
Yeah, we love you.
and I will talk shit. It's fine. Anyway, so tonight's episode, well, the idea for the 4th-year anniversary was we hadn't really done an episode on what got us into and made us fall in love with horror, because I'm pretty sure it's different for each of us, I'm willing to say. And then what is happening in the universe that taps into that is keeping us here and the reason we stay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's real talk. And so join us as we discuss the birth of madness. So I actually had 2 separate intros to horror. So basically, the first versions of a horror film I got to watch were the ones that my mom recorded straight off of TV.
With commercials and all.
With
Huh?
she would pause. Fuck that. She'd pause during the commercial, fucking re-record. Yeah, no, our shit was legit,
Man.
bro.
Man.
Oh, she had skills.
I was raised by a cinephile, man. Like straight up. She didn't want any of that bullshit.
Yeah, she had skills.
And she was on point. I mean, yeah, it was good. But so I got like the original, like I actually remember seeing Halloween 2 first before the first one. Like I saw everything out of order. So none of the story they were trying to go with made sense, right? So people were like, oh, you saw da-da-da. I'm like, nah, it was this one. She's like, oh, well, I was like, okay, that's not the first one. I'm like, oh, well, it's the first one I saw. Anyway, they were all made for TV. So you got all the tension and every other aspect of what makes horror great, but not the gore.
Yeah, you had
So-
you had the suggestion.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Friday the 13th
yeah.
part 2 like that, where she opens the fridge. You do see the head in the fridge, but then you see her hair get grabbed, and then cut to the scene.
You don't see the ice pick in the
you
fucking
don't see
temple.
anything.
And-
we all know she did. Come on.
well,
come
your
on.
mind,
Exactly.
your mind. What makes it great is that they do it. Your mind fills in the rest, and you really, when you're passionate about it, and you watch it. You're like, oh shit,
Yeah, and
you could see it in
I think
your head.
part of the thing that translated is not soon after that. Soon after that, I watched Universal Monster movies, which is the same thing.
Bam.
It's all suspense
Right.
and all build up, and everything that happens that's violent is off screen. Now, with these movies, you still get some of the violence, the manhandling, this and that, but that was my first intro. So I literally initially fell in love with that that tension, that feeling of like, what the fuck? Like, and then once we really started going to the video store, because I was older, because this was like 6, 7. When I get into like 8, 9,
Oh, you're young in it.
oh yeah, I was yeah. But because it was made for TV, I mean, there's adult topic, but the violence is out, so it's really not that scary back then. Now with The Walking Dead, you get away with a lot more on TV. I'm talking about like fucking UPN 9 in Jersey on a fucking Saturday night in 1988. Like there was nothing in this movie.
I feel like that's like Fox 35 for us.
That's
like,
exactly
yeah.
what it was, especially after midnight. After all the shows were done and whatever the case was, that's what you got.
we had TNT with Monster Vision where it was unedited. We had shit USA Up All Night would do Gilbert Gottfried.
For the new generation, it's like you have. I know there's like Shudder, and then you have Comet.
And there's one called Screambox.
That's
been out for about a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah. So then when we go and rent the originals, it was like I literally watched the movie and it was a new movie. There was so much shit that was cut out because these are so violent. So I literally fell in love with horror twice.
So what would you say?
And that's a really cool, like, not a lot of people can say that, I feel like. What
would you say is your first, if you had to like say that was your first technically horror movie, like, or scary movie, what would you say, like?
First actual horror movie, I would say
remember.
It was a tie between Halloween 2 and Jason 4. Wow. One of those two.
All right.
It was one of those two.
And how
because
old were you?
they were doing marathons around October. Like if she started recording again, like right at the end of the commercial break, like I said, it's on point for what it can be because VCRs were slow. So I might say,
I think USA did that here.
Yeah.
Was it USA?
I think so.
Back in the like mid 90s.
Well, that's where Joe Bob's was for.
Yeah.
And then it went to TNT.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was, like I said, 6 always pops up in my head when I think about that. But again, it was
I believe it.
So neutered. Like the movies they were making in the 80s that were rated PG did not match what they deemed PG for fucking screening on television.
No.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like Gremlins was PG in 84, but we're not showing people get blown up in fucking microwaves.
Speaking of a PG movie, and I actually just watched this 2 nights ago. It wasn't even for this episode, but Charlotte had never seen this movie. It worked out perfect. It's pretty much my first horror, scary movie, Poltergeist.
I mean, you have a heart of a fucking connection affiliation with that movie, dude. I get it.
That was my dad. He had zero. There was no. I don't know. This could fuck this kid up. I think 5 or 6. Fucking sat there and watched it. Scared the shit out of me.
Understandably so.
And again, PG movie. Dude's ripping his fucking face off. Like there's some hardcore shit in that for a PG movie.
Yeah.
And especially for a 5-year-old.
She jumps in a pool full of skeletons.
Oh.
Because the bodies came on Earth. Like, fuck.
I finished watching it. I'm like, fuck that. I'm freaked out. And then I go to bed. And my dad lived down in the country.
It's the clown, right?
No.
Oh.
Old ass tree right next to my fucking window. And I got in bed. I just said, that's not fucking happening, man. No fucking way. There was no storm. I don't care. I'm not sleeping. I just watched that documentary where the fucking tree eats the fucking kid.
Yeah, because it was real, right? It was documentary.
It fucked me up. I said, nope. But I remember my dad just was like, I'm watching. And again, and you watch it now, and there is that kind of 80s Spielberg kind of family appeal, and then fucked up shit happening. In the 80s, and there's this middle part. It's so crazy that, like, it's kind of a family film, and then this evil fucking entity fucks with people and steals a little girl.
Yeah.
It's funny that you had said that because while I was listening to you guys before you had gotten to that, that's what popped in my head is I was trying to think of movies when I was really young that really scared the shit out of me. Like there was ones that I loved, like Friday the 13th never scared me. It was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street though, the first one specifically, and especially the scene where Nancy's one of her early first dreams after her what's her name gets killed. I'm trying to remember.
So when she's being dragged through the hall, and
they drag her through the hall,
the blood trail,
that would literally haunt my fucking dreams like all the time. But I would continue to watch it. I would put myself through it. But man,
was it because when the actual part of that whole segment where it's the hallway scene and you just see the legs lift up?
Yeah,
because they edited it out. The guy, that shit was like what?
The angle, the lighting, the down to the
lift
blood.
her legs and just drag her. You're like, what the fuck?
And I just actually watched that last night for the first time. She watched it. She's never seen it.
Wait, Em watched it for the first time. No shit. Did it scare her?
No, when she watches them, like the older ones that don't really do anything, like they don't. But she did like it. Like she enjoyed it, and I was like, well, at least there's that. But when I watch it, that childhood fear every time that scene comes in, right in the back of my neck. That's where the hairs stand up.
And I think because it was the 80s and it was the dawn of the slashers and all those original like groundbreaking line pushing films. For us, we're watching it when we were younger. in the time period when there was nothing better too. They hold that. Whatever part of that film, that for you, in that particular segment of the film, there's something in that film that fucks with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And for somebody, it's the same thing we get with like outside of horror, like people going and watching the original trilogy now. Dude, I am not naive to the fact that if you have never seen it and you're 40 years old and you finally watch it at 40,
Yeah.
it's
will not
the most
hold up.
generic fucking shit
Yeah.
that you I mean, let's be real. It's
Yeah.
true. But when everything else is attached to it and there's nothing better, like if people want to watch The Mandalorian or the new Ahsoka series, it looks Oscar worthy compared to what the original trilogy looked like in comparison.
Sure.
Coming from the eyes of somebody who's never seen it. Same thing with horror, right? So I could see him watching that and being like, yeah, it's good. Because you didn't watch it when you were just out of sync with the time when it was
Right.
prevalent.
It definitely doesn't scare you. Although like with my kid, she could. She hasn't seen it yet. I told her
So that
to
she's
wait.
seen it through the kid's eyes, though. Again,
Right. She's still under 13, but she's she's
scared?
12. And she won't watch it yet. She says, I think I'd rather watch it with my friends. And I was like, you know what? That's probably a good idea.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well,
You know what?
might have
Just
some more
watch most of them with
conversations,
your
though,
friends,
after that.
and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, especially after. Oh, and if they just pick the wrong one and they pick the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street and there's way more pedo action, you might have a long conversation.
Well, she did watch that one without my consent with her friends, and she thinks and she's like, I watch it. And I was like, no, you didn't.
That doesn't
No.
count. No.
You absolutely
And now you're
fucking
grounded.
Yeah.
you saw you're grounded not just for the fact you watch it, but because you watched that one.
Oh no, I actually
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not in trouble because you watched a radar horror movie. You're in trouble because you watched a shitty remake. All right, that's why you're in trouble.
And you think it's the original, and
Yeah.
I took her phone from her. She was so mad at me for like a good 30 minutes. I was just like, how dare you?
That's awesome.
You see these posts, how dare you? Like, if you're going to get into it, I will say, word of advice, now you have a cool thing which is like the movies that made us do the whole horror segments and stuff. She actually, I was in what I thought was her first time seeing anything like that. So she got to see the behind the scenes. So knowing it's not real from the start helped her jump into all kinds of like she like scream and all that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so.
The
I see
fear's there.
I can
but
see the
she
positive.
knows it's not real.
Okay,
you
the
know?
fear is cool, and I guess that's ultimately what you want is
The safely-
for the kid to realize that it's not real.
Yeah,
But then you expect the crew to do their job, and it's still fucking scary.
for sure.
Now, like I said, I cut my teeth on those, but there's so many horror movies that after the fact, like those first few that I named, like I said, the Halloween, Nightmare, and Friday the 13th series was where I cut my shit. Like that, going from like I said, from the edited TV ones to the video store rentals, those were like my bread and butter. And because of that, like I think that's why no matter what, I'll always be a slasher dude.
Yeah,
Like
And-
even
and you
newer
s-
ones
and
that come out.
And which one did you start with? You started with 4, right?
4,
Yeah.
But 6 is my favorite.
And we had brought this up when we did the franchise, but one of the things that really helped, I think, the Friday the 13th franchise is I think I also started with 4. And 4 had that little recap at the beginning.
Mhm.
So you saw the fucking deaths from all the other
Yeah.
movies. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I got to go back
'Cause it
and
actually
check out-
starts with the campfire scene from 2.
Yeah.
And
where he's
like it's
talking,
really cool.
And
yeah.
then you're like, fuck, I'm going to watch this.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go back and see the wheelchair
It lets
motherfucker
you
get
know.
fucking
There's
machete in
other,
the face.
no, you need to watch the other shit.
Yeah.
Because I guess we've talked about this, and we talked about that in the franchise episode too. Like the first 4, well, the second through 4th, when Jason's involved, actually happens over the course of like a week.
Yeah, it's not
Like,
long at all, man.
It's not that.
Those cops suck.
Because there's news broadcasts like in 4 when she's running with her daughter. They let you in on what they're listening to on the radio, and she's like, psycho killer escaped the county hospital, da da da. And it's like, Jesus, that just fucking happened.
So
Like,
I think when I was younger watching that too, I was kind of numb to the slashers. I enjoy watching them, but it never scared me. It was just kind of like, oh man, that's fucked up.
yeah, with slashers, once I saw them, like that was it. I would say out of all the slashers, the scariest, based off sheer kill bad guy aspect. I think Michael was scarier because they didn't, until Rob Zombie got a hold of him, where you didn't know why.
You don't even need to mention.
You didn't
it.
know
Just-
why he was crazy. He was just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Where Freddy, there's a reason, but Freddy, the first 3, because even 2, the way they do his makeup in 2, that motherfucker looks scary, dude.
Yeah.
Like, let's be
In
real.
2?
Like that pool scene with the fire behind him, and they make his skin look wet, like it's still hot from melting, and he looks so much darker, like a dark brown, like instead of that flesh pink he becomes later on, dude.
Yeah.
And whatever they do to his teeth, like there's some solid shots of him in 2. You're like, bro, ooh.
It's just attached to that movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not the greatest, but the first one he still was darker.
Yeah,
they just
he
made
was
him
definitely
darker in 2.
Well, I think the way they shot him too, because they almost weren't revealing his entire face in
Which
most of
was
the scenes.
genius.
They
Yeah.
I don't think
Fucking
and
genius.
just watching, I can tell you right now, they don't like. You never get a clear shot. You think it's clear,
Yeah,
but it's really not clear. It's
Yeah.
more shadowy and just like
Part of
rotten
that's
teeth.
the having the fedora was really helpful because it would just shadow over his
yes,
face.
yeah.
So
because if it was nights, it was always there was always just random lights, and they were always above him, so it just kept that shadow casted. It was genius, and he only had what was it 5 minutes of screen time in the first one?
no, it's got to be more than that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I
maybe 11.
I was say I think it's like 15. It is not
What
really that
in
much.
the first one?
Yeah, it's not a lot, dude.
Well, it's got the. I mean, as far I would say,
Those dream sequences, like the first few, don't last as long as you think they do.
I would say
I
15
love-
minutes. Yeah,
I'll
that's
say
probably
this.
about right.
I love
10 to
Nightmare on Elm
15.
Street, but I can never take it seriously when he does the extended arms.
Yes,
It's one of the dumbest looking fucking scenes. I
love that scene,
everything-
though. I love it, though.
everything else about that movie, but when he does the arms, and it's, I hate it. I hate that fucking scene.
I love that shit, though, man.
Everything else in that movie is fucking badass. I do a quick little fast.
If they had just, I will say, watching it, like literally is laughing about that because of how just like flimsy and long
If
that
it's-
they
maybe
are.
if it's-
It's-
maybe if like his claws had extended out and he's like dragging them or something like that, but he was just like, you
Like a
can't
white
get past
knuckle.
my
Well,
big hug.
they did work on that after that. When now, like after that, and they might have even amped it up in the first one, but I know they started in the second one where when he drags across, he scrapes.
No, yeah, I know, but I'm
And
saying
I think
instead
it
of
either
having
happened at the end of the first one or the beginning of the second one.
instead of
was
having the
first time.
giant ass arms, just like exaggerating his claws or something.
But look at that intro though, like straight up making the glove.
Yeah.
Genius. I mean,
Oh,
that led to so much shit like down the road
It
of
looks
how
like,
you
it
start
looks
a horror
like,
movie.
Like homemade
Yes.
film footage of him making it too.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
that little box of him
Mhm.
making it. So you're like, it really kind of started that kind of curiosity at the beginning, like, who's this motherfucker?
Yeah.
And then, oh shit.
the fucking glove, man.
Now I was gonna say real quick, I got into slashers, and those never really scared me. And then I had a friend suggested when I was, I think, like 12, like maybe 11 or 12, we should check out this movie. And I was like, well, I mean, I watched slashers, shit's not gonna scare me. And we watched and sat down. It fucked me up the first time I watched it. Fucking Exorcist.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Oh, yeah.
crazy because I was like
Yeah.
numb to fucking like, oh yeah, Jason and fucking Freddy. I watched The Exorcist, and I'm like, something of the way he did that movie and the realism and just fucked up, and you're like, that freaked me the
Yeah.
fuck out. Like,
I get that.
And
yeah.
it's funny because I was so numb to everything else, but Exorcist fucking threw me for a loop.
There's so many notably great scenes in that movie. But I will say that one of the scariest scenes for me in that entire film is right when the mom comes in and she's like, she's not stabbing herself, but she throws the dresser against throws her mother, like the dresser at her mom, or
Mhm.
blocks off the door. It's like, it's really the first time that you see her go full like into that demon
Oh yeah.
mode.
Yeah.
And that scene alone, I won't watch it. I'll admit, I don't watch it by myself. M, she laughs at it. Me, I can't watch it by myself.
It's a
I watch it
horrifying
with
fucking
her.
movie, dude. That's why I'm really leery about David Gordon Green's, especially with the turd he gave us last year, man.
God.
Fucking A.
But you know what? Maybe it's just the first movie. Like we just won't watch if he makes the other movie.
No, they already greenlit the sequel. Like they already have like a footage.
They
like
really greenlight what the fuck they want. I'll watch the first one, but the second one might be not as good but enjoyable, and I will just not watch if there's a third one
When's that
because
come
I
out?
learned my lesson.
Halloween, or not Halloween, but October.
It's
It's
October.
October this year, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple things coming out in October this year.
But that was definitely one of those. I'll even throw out too that it kind of freaked me out was Carrie. Like,
Oh yeah. Now I remember the first time watching Carrie. Me and my cousin Tim, we started at my Uncle Bud's house, and my Uncle Bud and my mom and whatever other adults were there were outside, and we make it almost all the way through the opening's credit, and then I think my cousin Monique came in and was like, because Uncle Bud's daughter was like, "Dad, they're watching titties in here." Damn it! Oh man,
Those don't even really count as titties, but
Oh no, there's some nice titties in that opening scene.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but like, then we got told stop.
I didn't know this was on right now.
There are other, out of the main slashers, there are other films that just like that followed suit, and they also followed suit with reading as well. Because I quickly went when I escalated from the TV edited movies that equates to Goosebumps to when I saw them unedited. Now I'm on like Fear Street at like 10, 11, and then by like 12 and 13, I started reading Stephen King. So there was definitely an escalation of my reading, along with the exposure to more graphic style horrors. You know what I mean? And there was all these movies that were kind of in that realm, like Children of the Corn, Pumpkinhead. I mean, say what you want about Children of the Corn, it got some pretty fucked up scenes.
Yeah.
What
Like
the first show, the
original one, the original one.
It's still spooky. When you watch it,
I just rewatched it.
It's still spooky. Like it's definitely, if you're watching it by yourself, like in the dark, you'll feel it.
You're
for
You'll
sure.
lock your kid's door because you're like, no, I can't trust.
Well,
you,
it
Pat."
actually speaks more because when the dad,
Fuck you, I'll put a double
like,
lock on that bitch.
I feel like it speaks more volumes now, even though that came out in the 80s and Reagan. But anyway, we're like, seriously, you just believe whatever they tell you?
Yeah.
Dude,
Like, I mean,
we're one TikTok away from the kids fucking just killing all the adults. All right.
I don't know. The thing we got to worry about, the big difference is that they got, coerced into a cult versus kids now get coerced into Tide Pod challenge.
Right, but I'm saying, is a TikTok kind of a cult?
Oh, 100%.
That's what I'm saying. So they're like, hey, you know what'd be really awesome? Slit your parents' throat, and feel yourself doing it. Like,
yeah, fair.
They're gonna join forces with
a dumber Children of the Corn, but still Children of the Corn.
It's
like,
more.
what do we do now? Hey, mom.
It's actually more. It's more global and maritime than that because now they're partnering up with the whales that attack the boats. They're just fucking everybody.
Everybody
on land or sea.
Yeah, but there were tons with that. I mean, like again, once I got into Cujo, it was like. Stephen King, I was reading Cujo, watching those movies, and I already I realized that some of these horror movies that I already saw were written by this dude. I'm like, oh fuck, I need to watch these.
The first horror movie I saw by myself, I didn't go with because again, my dad didn't give a fuck. He'd take me to see whatever, but the first I went in the theater. I think I probably had ticket for something else, but I went sat down. My first horror movie by myself in the theater, Pet Cemetery.
Nice.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Now,
The
unfortunately,
scene
my
with the
story,
sister, I know that had to fuck you up.
that sister still fucks me up, dude.
But there was
I didn't want
exaggeration too because
I'll fast forward through
that was
that
the first
shit
one
every time.
I was watching by myself too, so I was just like,
No.
"Oh, I'm fucking here, man."
That freaked you out though, didn't it?
Yeah,
That-
it did.
I mean, I'm sorry,
That
she
sister
is
fucked
so
with
fucking creepy, dude.
Rachel.
But no, when she's in the far end of the room and she just runs over, you're like, oh god. Ah.
Yeah.
Ah.
That's all my nightmares in one scene right there.
And now as a parent though, the worst scene for me is when they have where the kid Gage falls out of the coffin. I'm like, oh god, oh no.
Oh yeah, that was
rough, dude.
yeah. The psychological, I love a good slasher, but when it fucks with you enough that it lingers afterwards, like that to me.
But this was a ghost story, right? This was a ghost. This was more of a ghost story.
scene when Jed's looking for him and he leans down
Zombified,
and you see that fucking blade. Oh,
yeah,
right.
dude.
Yep.
The Achilles. Fuck you.
That's where my thing with Achilles tendon. That's my number 2. That's where that started. Was that?
Oh, really? From Pet Cemetery?
Not Herman.
Yeah.
Like saw Herman Mustard get sliced,
You
dude.
call my TVs.
he did. That
Pepperidge Farm.
little baby.
Monster Evans.
That little baby, I fucked him up. Fucked him up real good.
Now you did. I know Hunter has. Kyle, have you heard they're doing the prequel to when Judd was a kid on Paramount Plus?
No,
Pet
is that
Cemetery.
real?
Hmm?
Are you fucking with me?
Yeah.
They're really doing that?
Well, he's not a kid. I think he's like right before he was supposed to go to Vietnam. Teenager. Because remember, he has the flashback in the original where he talks about his dog.
Yes.
And his dog comes back fucked up, and he talks about the neighbor that kills his whole family, sets the house on fire. It's supposed to touch in on a lot of that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now you get a
'Cause
whole.
They actually show a still of his dog before being fucking
I've
fucked
never
up.
known. No, I don't. If I've read the book, it's been a long time. But in the book, is there that much detail to any of that, or is this something they're creating?
There's a lot
completely new?
more they cut out for the film because that's how Stephen King works. You can't put
Sure.
every little fucking squirrel that he writes.
Yeah.
writes
Or it'll
in
be
his
Pet
books.
Cemetery Part 1, Pet Cemetery Part 2, sort of
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. So no, there is base, but there's enough that they can work off of.
Yeah. That's pretty sweet.
Because I also got that Welcome to Derry, and I'm like, I don't remember reading in it where there's enough to work off of Pennywise to create this series on HBO.
No, not unless they're trying to create some sort of universe.
I mean, yeah, it's the beginnings
Outward,
of
like,
Pennywise. Like, what the
cinema
fuck are you
universe.
talking
Yes.
about? He's in the Dark Tower universe. He's in that world, and he's alienish. And yeah, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing?
I don't
I
know.
think
That's
it's
a creepy
called
character.
desperation.
Seriously.
Yeah.
One of the first movies, hard turn here. Going back to, you all kind of brought up one that really fucked with me, like lingering outside of the house, was Return of the Living Dead, and it was because of that statement in the beginning of the movie. Because it happened in 1983, and I was like, well, fuck, that was a year before I was born. They've got to made it to the house now. That's literally what went through my fucking head, dude. I'm dead ass serious. I was born in 84. I was like, oh, fuck, it's been a year. They've had to have made it because that was Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shit, that's right over there. Like, and dude, one of the bus stops for the bus we took to get to my aunt's house, my Aunt Gail's house, was literally in front of a cemetery. And
Oh, that's great.
if we went, my aunt and was like working night shift at the Wawa down the street. So when we would get to the bus stop, it was dark.
Yeah.
And I just remember that fucked with me so hard. But I never told my mom about it. Never said anything. I'd just be by the fucking grave. Fucking
You kept,
looking-
kept expecting a Thriller
behind
album
me.
to pop up at like
Seriously,
a
dude.
whole video.
I remember that shit vividly though.
Yeah.
Like,
What's
it's
crazy is I remember discovering that movie, and I don't know if it was some kind of theme, and it was probably USA, but they played Return of the Living Dead, and then right after that, Day of the Dead. And that was
Ooh,
like my
nice.
kind of intro into the zombie culture. I was like, all right. And then that's what kind of started me off, was just randomly they packed these two movies in. And, I say USA, but it had to be something more hardcore because I remember all of the details of Day of the Dead happening, do get ripped up part and shit like
no,
that.
USA.
Oh, dude, like that shit was
USA
gory
Up
as
All
fuck.
Night.
Yeah, Up All
Yeah.
Night with Gilbert Gottfried would show it.
I'm guessing that's what it was.
Yeah.
But that was my real first, like, all right. And then from there, I'm like,
It was probably Joe, Bob Briggs.
Well, he had
Possibly,
his
yeah.
segment, but then you had Up All Night.
You
so-
did, but I'm saying his segment was edited as well.
yeah, oh yeah.
So that's why it might have been that. Because I was going to say, there's tons of other individual movies we could each talk about experiences and what that did for us. But like ultimately, horror when we were young wasn't cool. It was
No.
like reading comics.
It was taboo.
Like,
Yeah.
exactly. It was like reading. It was like being the
Yes.
comic nerd or whatever, or liking
the horror
action
section
figures.
at the VCA, the VH store was always
Is the smallest section. And towards the
Yes.
back,
Yeah.
you were like two steps away from the porn room.
All right, yeah.
Fuck.
You'd have a whole wall of action,
Yeah.
a whole wall of drama, and then
New releases.
a half a wall with half sci-fi
And
and
half
half horror.
horror.
You know,
Yeah,
it says,
dude.
Go fuck yourselves. This is what you get, the little scraps. You get the
Yeah,
little
you get the
scraps.
scraps.
And
We got
nothing
8
was ever in because they
No.
didn't have much. So when people like us went to go get them,
Well, this is
could
where you
fucking-
had. This is where you had to follow that cult one. That's where I got into Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I got into Dead Alive, stuff like that. Because if you're trying to see something new, they had like one copy. But you
Yeah.
go back and then find the shit that was still sitting on the shelf. That's how you discovered some of these, like Henry the Portrait, like a
Henry
portrait,
Portrait Killer.
Yeah.
all that
Yeah,
shit that was
first
just
time
sitting there.
I saw any of the Evil Dead movies was renting it from the video store. I saw the cover, same thing with Pumpkinhead or tons of other old shit. Right?
Pumpkinhead, I definitely saw on like Fox After Midnight. No, it was Up All Night.
It's such a good movie. I just rewatched that over the weekend.
What,
It's
the
such a
first
good-
Pumpkinhead?
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah.
The movie's awesome.
It's just crazy how the cover art was such an important. Like, if you didn't have people like suggesting Evil Dead and things like that.
Dude, 80s horror cover art was just like the 80s thrash album cover art. It made
Evil-
or break.
Evil
It
Dead
made
2,
or break.
with that skull sideways
Yeah.
view. You're like, all right, fucking Dead Alive, chick's mouth. I've got it fucking tattooed on me.
Yeah.
Opening up, like
Yeah. It
that's
was
like
genius. It was
I gotta
genius
check this
shit.
shit out. Now
Yeah.
that didn't always work out, mind you.
Well,
there were some
Yeah.
where the cover
Yeah.
art was fucking badass.
Yeah.
The movie fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's-
You learned your lesson.
You have
But-
there's quite a bit of those.
So the individual movies are a big part of it, but and a big part was the video store experience.
Yeah.
And also being that like outlier, And I bring this up strictly because like now, and it's amazing, and I love it for it now. But now it's like the amount of cons that have popped up since the last 12 years I've been going to cons. The amount of horror fans that are out there now, and the accessibility. It happened with everything else, streaming, everything, internet, all that. Slowly, through the 90s and the 2000s and the teens, was able to drive more of this stuff and getting 4K scan releases and updating all this shit that never got touched since
There's
it
no
got dropped.
hunting anymore.
But there's no hunting. There's no feel the kill when you either land a good album or you land that, oh, fuck no, they've got the copy of this. Like, I would still go to Video Fan and find shit that I'm like, fuck yeah. Like, I have, this was early 2000s. So.
Last time I experienced that
Video
was
Fan.
probably
Remember that
like,
shit? Strawberry Street? Yeah.
probably like 2008, 2009 when Trick or Treat came out. Everybody was starting to kind of talk about that, right? Before streaming was really like you could just type in and it's going to be on somebody's streaming site. So I remember bugging the shit out of when we used to have Movie Stop, which was GameStop, but all it was movies.
I remember Movie
and
Stop.
pestering them like, you got a copy in yet? You get a copy in yet? And finally got it. And that was the last kind of really kind of hunting word of mouth movie that I was scoping out. That now you just fucking you can find it streaming. You know, like it's not the same thing.
Right.
Not at all. Like the appreciation adds to the lasting effect of the film. You're either going to hate it eternally, or it's going to be a stroke fest whenever you talk about it. I mean, seriously, that hunt adds to that.
Well, I'll tell you. And speaking of, I remember it was like a 2-weekend long quest to get Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors from Video Time that used to be near, like, where King's Crossing is.
No, I remember.
No one else. Yeah.
The special back room.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, buddy. But that's my mom would take me there, and I would look around and I would get like 5 or 6 from all different genres. But the horror section, I remember seeing that, and it's just the front. Now, I'd already seen the original, the first 2 actually, and I loved them. The first one I loved, but I saw that and I hadn't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and it was just the artwork on the front.
Yeah.
It could on that half tattered up fucking box drew me in. I saw all these horror movies and I grabbed that.
Yeah.
That's and I loved the first one, but I was like, there's so many other choices I haven't seen. But the artwork on that was just like the best thing I'd ever seen. At that moment in time, it was the greatest thing ever. And when I took it home, I must have watched it at least 10 times before we took it back.
But and see, all that added to the experience, like I'm glad Hunter brought up artwork, because that, like, when I think of a film, part of the memory, that initial spurt of half a millisecond, I'm like, the artwork flashes through my brain, if that makes sense. Like when the way I remember, if that artwork, and like I can't do that for a lot of newer films. Like the only newer films that I can think of doing that with is if I saw the theatrical poster and I have an image, right? Like,
yeah,
and it's through a screen, so it's like, oh yeah, I don't know, there's something about holding that shit. I actually remember like just looking across and just seeing all these amazing artists. Like, oh, and I love how, with newer horror, they're bringing that back. And there's an appreciation for all that shit now. Like, look at the bar and the bar part 2. That artwork is fucking sick.
Oh, I'll throw a reference with You're Next. The poster was just one of the dudes wearing that fucking mask and just You're Next in bloody font.
Awesome.
I was like, all right, I gotta check this bitch out.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Because most movies now, they just really don't give a shit. Even some movies that I fucking love. Hereditary, love the movie. Poster's pretty fucking
Poster
lazy.
sucks.
The poster's pretty lazy. Yeah, it's just like, it's...
The Witch is simple, but I like that one.
Yeah.
The Witch is cool.
Oh, The Witch, yeah. That actually does very cool cover art.
Midsummer,
Midsummer, almost looks like a romantic comedy or a period piece.
They went overseas.
Right.
They worked out their relationship. And shrooms are involved. And
Lighthouse
bear
just looks
outfits.
like sailors. Like, I don't
I was like, Lighthouse just looks like I need to take a shower, man. Fuck that.
The Lighthouse just looks like a fever dream. Like, it doesn't look like a...
It is.
It is. Well, I don't... I'm trying to think of... I started watch... That's the one with William Dafoe and...
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. The whole movie, yeah.
And some random
mermaid with a vagina.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, other than that,
Some birds. They're co-stars.
Can you... other than that, here's a cool, like, thriller style scary movie. Can you think of a movie where, okay, so that was 2 of them. The whole movie's just 2 of them. Can you think of a movie where it was just one the entire movie?
Just one?
Mm-hmm.
The entire movie?
Yeah.
Nobody?
Yes. Well, so nobody else is involved in it. I mean,
no. You can hear things like they can talk on the phone,
Hush, but I guess that's
the only face there's only one face you see the whole time.
Technically, Hush, you don't see his face till the
I'll give you a clue. They're stuck in a coffin.
Oh, Buried. You're talking about that Buried movie, yeah.
Which, by the way, so fucking underrated.
Buried.
That shit will give you, like, you will feel anxious watching that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No fair.
Scariest scene one of the scariest scenes ever is from that movie. It still sticks in my brain is the snake getting in So he's buried under, and they're asking for ransom. You don't know how deep or where, but he's buried. It's in the Middle East. And then in there, he thinks, okay, it's just him in there. It's scary enough. And then I guess a crack in it or a hole big enough for a snake starts crawling past him inside the coffin that he can only see because of the light.
I don't know if I can ever watch that movie.
Yeah.
I get weird claustrophobic with that.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, that's what I mean. Like, geniusly fucks with you.
I'm just saying, the part of Kill Bill Volume 2 when she's buried,
scary.
That's hard for me, and that's like fucking 10
minutes. That's what fucked me up about the was it episode 3 or episode 4 of Cabinet of Curiosities? The dude was a grave robber.
Yeah.
And he has a mark. The dude's got a fuck ton of stuff he's buried with on his, like, whatever the English military was back then. And he, like, goes to dig it up pretty much as soon as he can. And the rats have already, like, grabbed the body and drug him out. So he's, like, going in the rat. Oh, my God. So he's going in a rat tunnel, which is a maze, in a cemetery.
Ugh.
And then he gets so far where there's, like, no light. Bah. Bah. No, I had to watch that in 2 sittings. I generally got so uncomfortable. Fuck this. I cannot. I'm done right now. So that is one of the reasons why I've stayed with horror. Like, there's been such an examination of the genre from true auteurs and lovers of it that that we've still had a continuous flux. Now, everything's not a banger like it was back in the day. Now, there was a stint where everything was like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. And then when you got to the late 80s, you started getting the fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
And that's what I was going to say.
You start getting into franchise versus originality.
Or just the standalone ones that are just like terrible.
They're just thrown together.
I'll throw this out there. In my opinion, now comic superhero movies, they're the top tier, right?
Yeah.
And there's a year you could really point at, which is 2008 with Iron Man.
And Hulk.
I almost get, but I'd say Iron Man and
Iron Man was the bigger one, but
and Dark Knight are literally 2 months apart.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's off and running. And before that, pretty shitty, some decent ones, but superhero movies. And this is kind of what happened with you're saying with late 80s and early 90s with horror, is that you got the shitty Friday 13th and the shitty Nightmares. And horror, like, just wasn't, like, you had your random Candyman, but a lot of shitty horror.
Yeah, that was a standalone 90s horror.
And then this is where this movie came out and brought the excitement back. And for horror fans, it made me like, oh shit, we're back. And that was fucking Scream.
Yeah, Scream
referenced all the shit that I grew up watching, like quizzing.
It was meta.
And everybody was excited about horror again. And that was like so exciting to fucking watch.
Scream is definitely probably one of the best examples of reviving and doing it in a meta way, which is ever since then is how it's done.
And because he also opened the door outside of just like
your fourth wallet. Almost. No, third, maybe
fourth
not
wallet, but then you just know that you're making fun of something. And it really started that meta horror because there were horror comedies. Obviously, Evil Dead 2 being the OG, but then we already talked about Return of the Living Dead, American Werewolf in London. I don't give a fuck what you say. That's a horror comedy. That movie's hysterical.
Oh, it's amazing.
But they were those standalone ones that were in at the time. There wasn't even really a category to put them in. It was like it's a horror movie that's funny. Horror comedy wasn't a thing. In the 80s. Right, when that shit came out?
Unintentional.
It was unintentional.
Yeah.
Now you got Wes Craven who does Scream where it's like, oh, it's intentional.
Right.
Well,
it's intentional.
It was fucking mainstream because I mean that's when I first started working in the theater, and they weren't thinking that movie was going to blow the fuck up. And when it did, it was exciting because like I never stopped loving horror movies.
Yeah,
but there wasn't a lot to love back then.
And we've had that even since then. Like I said, we're still getting these amazing creators that are realizing what needs to be done. 40 years after the fact, almost 45 years since like the original slasher came out in 78, right? When you're looking at Halloween, like we had that broke box office records. Terrifier 2, the most recent one, broke shit. Like we are still getting these writers and directors and actors that are here for the ride. That's part of it. It's like no other genre has been this resilient, I guess is the best word.
What, than horror?
Yeah. Think about it.
Well,
sci-fi. But sci-fi never. It was an outlier, but it was never as much as the horror was.
Right.
Well,
would you consider like? And I know because I think I went.
Wait for it. I know you would ring up.
I think I went and saw it with you actually, Blair Witch Project.
Oh yeah. You say that, but again,
No, that changed so many things. And when I
hates the
first,
shaky cam so
no,
much.
I know, but when I first saw it, because I think I was like me, Sean. I think you were there, maybe Smitty. I think we
Ali,
went and
no?
saw it. I don't think I'd met. I don't think
Yeah,
we
it
had
was
met
before- it
Ali
was
at that
pre-Ali.
moment. This
Oh,
was
okay.
this was pre Ali, but yeah, I remember watching it and going like the build up to this was so beautifully planned that watching this, I am in a constant state of eeriness.
And that was even
And
exactly
genius.
Is that it was experience. Even the movie now we look at it like it fucking sucks shaky
Yeah.
cam. But at the time you walked in and you're like, dude, this is some real shit.
Did you
Like,
read that website?
So was it? So hey, did I fuck up by not going to see it in theaters? Or
Yeah.
No,
B,
100%.
Yes.
Okay.
100%.
So it's a great movie, but you have to see it in theaters for it to be great.
It's a moment. All right, it's like a lot of M Night movies. All right, if you watch it the first time, great. Maybe some of those were good experiences, but after that, all right, two. Okay, I'm just saying something like The Village. I enjoyed the first time I watched it. Never fucking watch that again.
Yeah.
I
No,
enjoy
his
Blair
ending
Witch.
pisses me off so much that I don't enjoy the movie after I see his endings normally.
Okay, well,
So no.
Normally, Unbreakable's an exception.
That's why I said there's two.
yeah.
Split and Unbreakable.
Signs.
The ending of Signs was
Oh
Fuck.
god. Oh god. Oh, we're gonna have our own episode on the fucking.
Whoa.
I know how it feels about water.
But Blair Witch was definitely a time and place.
Yes.
And I don't need to ever watch a movie
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I
But
get-
it was fun.
same thing
at
with
that
Paranormal
time.
Activity. It was a time and place. It did a lot.
Now
you
that's
know.
a movie that followed me home for that night. Like I would go home and it was like I went home to an empty apartment at the time. Like all my
Well, you
my
start paying
roommates were
attention
at-
to every sound.
every fucking sound. I was like,
I never realized how noisy my apartment was until
Yeah.
after Paranormal Activity. I was like,
yeah.
my door's open making that sound.
So I
Like,
do feel like I missed out on things because I've seen those movies. I just didn't still see them in theaters.
oh yeah, and that's
Yeah. Well,
another perfect example of it. That's a amazing
Yeah.
movie going experience that you just don't get.
it's
watching
the
it at
energy
home.
from the crowd
Mhm.
who are feeling the same thing you're feeling. And like that's what's really cool because you all come in there and you're feeling the same thing and you know it. I mean, it's like any movie that you go see, but with those like Blair Witch or a couple of others, like you went in there and you could just feel everybody was feeling the same thing. It was
Yeah,
all the same
intense.
energy.
It was so fucking quiet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
literally, you could hear a pin drop,
So like
and it's a horror.
Quiet Place.
Pretty much, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that-
Where it's,
that
and
was
it's
awesome.
a horror movie crowd, so in some crowds, and you've been to those movies where shit goes down, they're giving instructions to people on the screen, like, "Bitch, go grab the knife." Paranormal Activity, none of that. Just like you hear the oh fuck. You see the door open, you hear some shit,
Yeah.
and it was like an interactive experience that you had to be there. There's
Yeah.
one other movie I'd throw that out there, The Strangers. The first time I've ever seen The Strangers, that
Oh,
whole
yeah.
crowd when she's walking
The original.
and she grabs the blinds and throws them. People freak the fuck. I saw some dude like literally like jump out of his fucking seat, and you hear those stories, but you don't
Yeah.
usually see
usually
that
see them,
shit.
yeah,
That's got,
yeah.
And that motherfucker freaked the fuck out.
People were getting sick like Exorcist style at Terrifier too.
Yep,
Was Strangers was that Liv Tyler or was that next?
Liv
that's
Tyler.
Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where
That was great.
they're just fucking with you with the little taps, and you're like,
Dude,
I
that
should
was
go investigate that.
that was a genius.
Look, you
film.
break down the mind. Like those movies are like that's what they do. They break down the mind, but they break your mind down with it
Mhm.
while you're watching it. It takes you off.
You're going
guard.
through him first.
Yeah.
You're always coming from the perspective of the victim.
Yeah.
It's something
So-
that Flanagan does, but the
Oh,
trick.
hopefully.
Oh, Hush, he does that shit.
But Flanagan does the same trick that worked for Stranger so well, which is there's someone in the background,
Mm-hmm.
but we're not focusing on them. But as an audience, you go, bitch.
Well, with Hush, they had
Bitch,
it.
turn
They had
around.
it with Hush, they had it in the death thing, which is like fuck.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, but
oh.
Stranger started that where literally the dude's right there, fucking burlap sack mask, and she's just not turning to the right. And as a crowd, everybody's like, oh fuck. And that was really fun to experience.
Like,
Yeah.
do you think in that moment, like, especially the creators, but the actor was probably like thinking to themselves, like, I'll do something if you turn this way and see me. But
Yeah.
until that moment, I'll wait.
Yeah,
Like, if that's what makes it fun.
yeah.
Hey, boo! Like,
Well,
I'm right
so
here.
That's
If
one
not,
of the
I'll
big.
just fuck with you.
There's a few other names, obviously Damien Leone and David Howard Thornton. No, we talked about Terrifier a lot. David Gordon Green did do well with. I mean, Halloween 2018 is fucking amazing.
Don't get me started. I will praise that fucking movie till the end
exactly. But we've got Mike Flanagan, who's another big name, who's slowly just done better. Like when we talk Hush, that was like way early on. I think he had like Oculus and there was Abstentia. I think before Hush, there might have been one
so
in
it was
between
before
there.
he even did Ouija 2.
They might have been around that
Yeah.
same time. But then, you got Gerald's Game. He got fucking the Haunting of Hill House. That is
Yeah.
like you talk about like solid fucking horror.
Yeah.
Like all the background shit.
Then that's
Fuck me, dude.
That's why I reference.
There's so many times I jumped watching that fucking show just because like there's something just is there. Like, oh, what the fuck?
And it's funny
like,
that we're bringing it real quick, but I don't get scared a lot now because I've become numb to so much.
Mike Flanagan scares me.
So watching that show kind
Flanagan
of brought me
scares
back to a
Yeah.
little bit of my childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh fuck,
I can
and I'm
see
like,
that.
there's that. I'll say that, and in the right setting, and the right fucking output on my sound bar, Hereditary.
Oh yeah.
Will fuck with me.
Yeah.
But it's one of those exhilarating because I watch so much stuff that doesn't scare me and doesn't freak me out.
When he is in the attic and she's doing that, like the way that it built up to that, where he's just like, stop. And it's like his mom, but not.
Yeah, it's fucking.
I still don't really understand that movie fully.
Yeah.
There's something
but
so
that's
broken with
exhilarating,
the
man,
creator
because
of that, but good for
you're
you.
actually getting
You fucked
freaked
me up.
out.
Yeah.
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 And then
Yeah, fuck me up.
then there's and this is a touchy subject because I think there are actually people that love this, but where they tried to do something and but what you got was It Follows. And, yeah. But I mean, hey, that's so
I've heard people are freaked out by that movie, but I wasn't. So
I think it's on Freebie. I don't know.
you can fuck right off. I'm just saying, like, one of the reasons I stay with horror is because we still have people that are creating new stuff or finally adapting things that weren't and giving it proper due. Like, I can't wait to see Mike Flanagan's Follow the House of Usher. Follow the House of Usher in October on Netflix. Fuck yeah. Flanagan doing Poe? Oh, God. Fuck yeah.
But think about, we were talking about earlier about we had to go to the VHS store.
Yeah, now we're talking about all this shit.
And now we've got fucking like every streaming but Shudder. There's so much out there.
Netflix
man.
is doing so much horror shit. Prime does horror. Like, Shudder is strictly horror, but every streaming service
Shudder's
is doing
been around
something.
for a while, though.
Like 8
hasn't
years
it?
now?
Yeah,
Something like
they
that?
pretty much have.
But I'm saying we have our
picked up-
own
they started
horror
that game.
streaming site. And on top of that, like you're saying, Netflix, Amazon, everybody is doing their own like shows based on horror properties. Like, it's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
We didn't have one. Again,
But
VHS.
it's like,
that's it.
I think we're enjoying it even more. We enjoyed it even more in the back in the day because it was the hunt, and we enjoy it even more now because we used to have to hunt. Same thing with music, more so than current and future moving forward generations. Like I said, we are that generation of the mix of that balance between analog and digital. We're like half and half of, maybe not you, honey, you're older. But
what was that?
Yeah, that's
but
about
no,
right.
I mean, like, seriously, like, we just described the analog age into the digital age just through horror movies, but
hey, and
my son only knows digital age.
and it
Lorelai's only going to know digital age.
Well, that's true.
Like,
Well, I mean, I do
It's
have
not-
tapes at the house,
but it's
she
not the
won't-
same
Well,
as
she's not
I
gonna
know.
know, and I feel like the same way with Mason is there's not gonna be really cult movies as much. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna have the word of mouth.
Well, Parker, I mean, luckily I had you, but he's still that younger generation that had to like, unless
I had to give him credit though. Parker actually turned me on to a word of mouth movie. That's one of my favorites, which was Terrifier.
as he got older, yes, he actually loved the genre and did that. But I mean, early on, it still wasn't the same experience that we had.
Yeah.
Well, can you imagine being our age? Me and Lowdown's age.
Get fucked yourself.
But like late 80s, early, let's say like 93, 94, to be like, I can go and I can just search hundreds of horror movies from right here. I don't know if I would have ever left I didn't really leave the house too much, but I definitely would not have left the house then.
You know what? There's so many movies that I see. I don't know, Hunter, you've told me about, like, you'll watch the trailer to see if it's interesting. There's so many movies that I'll see and I'll be like, no.
Yeah.
But if I had just gone to a video store and saw the artwork on the box,
Yes.
I probably would have rented them.
Yeah.
So, am I missing out on more shit now?
We're missing out on the quality artwork what that is.
No, I mean, they have the artwork as the thumbnail to click on to watch the film, but because it's on a
hard.
screen.
That's what's funny is that
the brain's
I just brought up
hardwired to
Terrifier.
grab it.
I wrote
like
Terrifier,
physical.
and one of the reasons it took me so long to watch Terrifier is because seeing a cover art of a scary fucking clown is like what 40% of Netflix horror
Yeah.
movies.
Yep.
So going,
Yeah.
no, this one's actually good. The other ones are dog shit. Well, how would I fucking know? They all
Exactly.
have fucking scary ass clowns covered in blood or whatever.
Exactly.
So it really still is kind of word of mouth. in that way, but it's impossible now. If you
Yeah.
start going through Prime, especially Prime will
Prime's-
put fucking dog shit movies on there.
Well, if your Shutter's through Prime, some of that is coming from Shutter too.
I understand.
You'll get like
Oh.
4 or 5 good suggestions,
you
and then
just
just
watched,
shit.
You just
after
watched
shit.
the autopsy of Jane Doe. Here's shit that sucks ass.
Well, they'll give you House on Haunted Hill, the remake,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
instead of the
Or
original with Vincent Price.
Jane
They'll give you
Doe's ghost. And
Yeah.
like it's fucking.
Ali Lauder and
It's just a
Yeah.
bunch
Tyrese,
of
I think.
dog
Tyrese,
shit.
yeah.
Was it Tyrese or Tay Diggs? Tay Diggs.
You sure?
I think it was Tay
Okay.
Diggs.
I'm just
Whatever.
saying,
It was
don't
terrible.
It was terrible.
trust the
Jeffrey Combs
algorithms.
was in it though, right? So
Yeah, sure.
he
Don't
played-
trust the
I'll take that. He was
algorithms
good.
that of what they suggest because that's not always trustworthy.
Fuck the algorithm.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, folks, we can literally go for a whole nother hour, but we're not done. We'll be right back after you hear what's going on the GOI Network.
In a world with too many reboots and remakes,
Two men will stop at nothing to make it even worse.
join Mike the Hobbit and Tandy as they play by their own rules while pitching new takes on some of your favorite and least favorite films and TV shows. What podcast would dare to bring this upon the world?
This is Smack My Pitch Show.
My name is Amy Bogard,
And I'm Mike the Hobbit.
and we are the hosts of Deeply Upsetting, where we use our expertise to answer your most upsetting hypothetical quandaries, such as what non-winged animal deserves wings?
And what body part deserves a secret mouth?
Which cryptid is the worst roommate?
These questions and more that plague you will be answered on Deeply Upsetting, available anywhere you get your podcasts and at GUIPodcast.com.
Coming straight from the mouths of madness, I'm Lowdown.
I'm FU Hunter.
Do you love horror?
We fucking do.
So this is a podcast dedicated to all things in cinematic horror. We're talking movies, television, composers, special effects artists. We're going to fucking cover it.
So if you love horror,
Embrace the madness.
In a world of blockbuster movies, there's another dimension.
The dimension of schlock cinema. Join us at Beautiful Disasters on a journey into the fringe territory of B-movie abandon.
We review the flicks that are forgotten or underappreciated to give them a proper place in the annals of celluloid history.
I'm the Groots,
FU Hunter,
your guides at Beautiful Disasters. Come along with us for a fun ride. May
the schlock be with you.
All right. Every show you just heard a trailer for is available at GUIPodcast.com or anywhere you get your podcasts. But I recommend going to GUIPodcast.com and then going to our links tab on the website. And the first link you should come across is TeePublic. That's where all the merch is for all the shows on the network. Just fun designs. There's like 50 some. It's fucking ridiculous. But it's also at the same time, there's sales every week. Holiday season's coming up. You know, coming
are
in.
the designs up for?
The spooky.
Oh
The spooky's
shit!
up. Let's get
Yep.
spooky. Yeah, Halloween's up, and then moving forward, go ahead and buy your stocking stuffers, little magnets, you know, some stickers, some shit like that. Yeah, we'd fucking appreciate that shit. And now,
Stump, the host.
all right, what you got for us, buddy?
Now,
All right.
should we remind him because it has been a while?
Oh yeah. So if I don't answer, he has the right to steal.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't immediately say no. The answer was
Mhm.
because that's happened, and then you're stealing the right for me to steal from.
It's happened to
him.
both of us. It's pretty shitty.
Yeah.
I do.
he just looks. Yeah. I got fucked.
It's terrible.
I have. Okay. Well, I'll start off with this question.
But you decide who goes first.
Oh, what
I won last to tie it back up because you were ahead, and then the last one I won tied it back up. We're tied again.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's your call.
Your call,
Tied.
bud.
Doesn't matter. Whatever.
I'm gonna show respect to my elders.
Wow.
All right.
I
No
know
way.
it's in your house,
No, dude. Seriously.
in your
Go-
room. I
Go
can
first.
only, all your victims must love.
Yeah.
This is great.
You
by
don't.
the
What
way.
you don't see is the tape marks when I take the plastic down. Anyway.
I hope. This
Dexter.
I hope this is like when he was asking the questions last time. And just gave us
no
the
fucking.
answer.
You gave us
Yeah.
the fucking answer.
And Monster Squad, when Wolfman got shot, who was shot?
It's just, what?
Oh God.
Oh, dude, it was great. That was great.
I was so.
So I'm looking forward.
This is
I'm
what I
looking
was
forward
still
to it.
balancing too, like working like 19-hour days is just always tired.
In
That's not an
Zombieland
excuse.
2,
It's just a reason.
what
No,
were
but
the
I mean, that's
creatures
literally
that were attacking in
you can't
zombies?
help but be exhausted.
Oh no,
And
all
that-
the time.
Trust me, like,
Yeah.
I did it as well. Like,
Yeah.
like fuck that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
in the making of The Exorcist, the woman who I believe Cambridge is her last name, who does the voice for the demon for what's her name? What's the main girl's name?
Reagan.
Reagan. Thank you. I was trying
Was
to
that
say
it?
Rayan.
Did I get it right?
No.
It's long-winded.
Now, Reagan's makeup artist was
Hey, listen, it's been a while.
related to.
Yeah, but go ahead. Good.
Okay, all right. So the lady who did the voice for Reagan's or for the demon, what are the two things that she consumed in large quantities in order to get that voice?
I know this.
There's two specific things.
Mm-hmm.
Like food?
I'm
or
100% on one. The other one I'm a little sketched out, but go ahead.
just- Jesus Christ. I have no idea.
Rapid
Like
fire.
fucking clams and fucking peanut butter.
All right.
I'll throw
All right.
some weird ass shit.
She chain smoked cigarettes and ate raw eggs.
No,
Fuck.
wrong. You got the cigarettes part right. She drank a lot of whiskey.
Oh, whiskey. That.
God damn it.
Whiskey and
I was
cigarettes.
trying to ask
thought
you
there
was
was
a
some egg
food
shit in
product,
there.
man.
All right. Well, I
I
didn't
thought
get
about
the whole.
the
It was
cigarettes,
two-parter, so
but-
I didn't get it right. So
Right.
That's a two-parter. So yeah, you guys, I guess both don't get.
we don't get it.
No.
We don't do the half-point shit.
What now? And I almost did it. That's you.
This is me now.
What is the name of the demon in The Exorcist?
Fuck! God damn it! God damn it! Oh my God! I did literally thought you were gonna ask that. Stop. Pazuzu.
God damn it.
Yep.
Fuck
you
yeah.
got
I
it.
already knew it. I was just fucking with you.
Yeah.
God damn it.
No, I was brain farting earlier. I'm like, I bet Kyle's punk ass made that a question.
Hey, yo,
Oh, I made some. I got a couple
Yeah.
hard ones.
motherfucker.
This one's really hard. All right.
Wow. All right.
When they were casting for The Exorcist, who was besides who already played Father Merrin, who was their actual first choice that they went with before the actor they fell on? There was one specific actor they wanted for Father Merrin in The Exorcist, and they could not get him.
Oh fuck! Oh God! Oh no! I read.
I'm just
this.
going to throw it out because
Son
it's
of a
going to be random as shit, but Frank Sinatra.
No, but actually, not a bad
Pretty close?
guess.
Yeah, I just can't remember who it was.
Was it Charlton Heston?
Nope.
Fuck! All right, who was it?
Marlon Brando.
God damn it! I was
Yeah.
gonna say Marlon Brando. Mother.
I knew he
I
was
thought he was
somebody-
dead already, but no, it was the '70s, so he wasn't dead. Fuck.
When in doubt, say Frank Sinatra and any
No,
70s
I
property.
literally thought Marlon Brando and motherfucker.
All right.
All right, so this is for me.
This one's for you, and I have some supernatural based questions, and I don't mean just the show. I mean
Okay, 'cause
supernatural
that's
in
not
general.
fair for Hunter.
Supernatural in general, and if you've consumed as much as I know you've consumed, you've at least picked this up. But I'm going to ask you, so I know you'll probably get it anyways. In folklore all over the world, going back hundreds of years, and in ghost lore, what metal is used to repel ghosts, witches, jinns, fairies, anything of supernatural?
Iron.
There you go.
Yeah.
I actually, when I was looking it up online and I could see comments and stuff, a lot of people were guessing like silver,
That's werewolves. And
which most
vampires.
was silver, and I was like, is he gonna go with silver or iron? Okay.
Iron, dude.
Son of a
Iron.
bitch.
All day. All right.
Sorry, buddy.
Last
I was
round.
going to say, this is
I'm
about
gonna-
it.
I got
wrote
two.
it.
You got to get right and steal mine.
I know.
I've got so many questions too. Okay.
Save them.
Oh, this is a good one.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Who did Wes Craven name Freddy Krueger after?
Oh, a bully in high school.
No. Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
never
there
mind.
you go. Now you
There
got
you
to
go.
steal mine, and we're tied. Now
All
we got to
right.
do another one. All right.
Hey, fuck him over. Need you to fuck him over right now.
Uh,
Pazuzu.
Okay. All right. Ed and Lorraine Warren were paranormal investigators famous for what?
Amityville Horror.
Okay.
Son of a bitch.
Amityville. And New
That
York.
was probably too easy, but
No, I mean, not really. The only reason I went to see the original Conjuring is because of that. So I grew up watching Amityville Horror. There's a lot of people that actually haven't watched the Amityville
Yeah.
Horror. I mean, true crime people might be into the Lorraine and
I don't know. The Conjuring kind of sold itself with the fucking trailer.
Exactly.
With the fucking clap shit.
Exactly. So like the fact
I didn't know
knew.
they were in there until I watched the movie.
You know, Ali. Ali and Andy went there. They opened up their room, and you got to see the original Annabelle and all that shit. I'm like,
all right, not
fuck
hang
that.
out with Ali anymore.
Dude, that was like back before I got married.
Oh man, I got a curse, man.
Yeah.
Oh man,
all right.
curse, man.
Those were some solid questions. I'm glad you have a bunch. Just save them so you don't have to write them again. Don't lose them.
Yep.
You know.
Yep, I got quite a few.
Yeah.
Actually, I have.
So now
I'm going to ask you a supernatural one real quick, just to see if you know it.
All right,
Let's
you already
go.
fucking won, so whatever.
That's
fuck
right.
yourself.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to live in the angsty curse
Oh, I'm
now.
back. I'm back to the angsty. The other one didn't work, man. I'm not being nice anymore. Fuck you.
What does the name Castiel mean?
Oh Jesus.
It's biblical too, but
Yeah.
it's,
Isn't it something with light?
no.
No,
That
no.
Lightbringer, that would be Satan or Lucifer.
Lucifer. No,
Would be the-
Lucifer's not. It's not Lightbringer. It's something else. But yeah,
It's Lightbringer.
is it?
Mhm.
That was late. Anyway, no, I don't.
It's
don't
the
remember.
angel of Wednesday, or is it the angel of Tuesday? Angel of Wednesday.
You got the answer there, man. Why are you seem
No,
so uncertain?
It's the angel of Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm not
I-
kidding, because even they joke about it in Supernatural. He's like Castiel,
Because you said
the
Wednesday,
angel of Wednesday,
and then you went back to Tuesday,
Or-
so it sounded like you were.
It's either Tuesday or Wednesday. Either way, you weren't going to
You
get
got the written down.
Nope.
Oh,
So
man.
all right.
I love when Kyle comes.
I finally took the lead instead of this bouncing back and forth shit.
You're
Because it's
fucking going
basically
down,
he
bitch.
had the lead, then Ty, lead, Ty.
You
lead,
like
Ty.
those? But you like those questions?
I did.
told you
I
they
did.
were bangers.
Now I noticed the wind blew out of your sail on a couple times. When he answered the bullying high school thing, you were like, "Oh," I'm like, "No, dude, but it's also Hunter."
Yeah.
Well, and that's like I knew one of you or both of you were
We've
gonna
been
get it.
fucked up on simple shit. Like I forgot Norman Bates.
You almost
Yeah.
forgot fucking the Exorcist question, and I was
And I forgot
waiting.
that before.
And I was
That was
waiting.
asked before because
Yeah.
I mean everyone brings really good questions, but
What,
they're
the
so
Marlon
far
Brando
apart.
one?
The Marlon Brando one, no one's ever asked that,
Okay.
and
We've
I literally was going to say Marlon Brando. I'm not even fucking.
I'm sure the
joking with
name
that
of the
shit.
demon in there, but I was going to ask.
They only referenced the demon like twice.
I did have one. I'll run it by you, see if you guys can guess it. I'd have to go through and watch it again to count. But how many times do you see Pazuzu's actual face in the first Exorcist?
Not his whole body, but just his face.
Just that shot of that.
Just
face.
the face, that white fucking
Oh,
terrifying.
the white face. Okay.
That
you see
twice.
that
That's his true face.
three
Twice.
times.
Twice.
Twice.
I thought it was 3 times.
Once through the longer one, and then there's once
Oh,
in
hold on,
the
hold
hood of
on.
the stove.
Uh,
That she's
when
in the kitchen.
Grandma's coming up. He's having father's having a dream about his mother who has passed away, coming out of the subway,
Mhm.
and as she's coming up,
Yeah, you see it then.
that's reflects, and then there's another one towards
The mom in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and like it's like over here on like the range.
I thought you
hood
saw it
or
right before the
something.
spider walk in the director's cut.
Well, it might be in the direct.
That's why.
But that wasn't theatrically released originally in the film.
The
so.
original
All right.
release, I think you only get 2, but the theatrical cut, yes, before she does that crab walk, it's
The
been
director's cut, yeah.
I'll have to check it out again, but you might be right about that. Either way, still fucking creepy. But
Yeah,
I was
fucking
like
creepy.
wondering. I was like, I wonder how many they'll say.
Mm-hmm.
So you were thinking it differently, but we're all right.
Basically right. So,
Yeah.
all right, folks, that is it. Kyle, Smash, thank you for being back on. Finally, it just took 4 years. It's whatever, you know.
Took a while.
Hey, it was
It's
a great
fine.
time.
It was a great
love
fucking
it.
episode.
And you actually wrote down questions instead of answer questions. So that's good. So
You actually
yeah.
saw the movies you brought up, which was
you
nice.
look at that. Yeah, you watched it.
You're just 2 for 2, man.
Well, I'm getting shit together too, so hopefully I'll put my voice back out there.
Oh yeah,
in
I've
some
heard
form
we've
or
talked
fashion
about
in a
some
while.
of the stuff
Yeah.
you got planned, which will be fun. Hopefully, there'll be some madness crossover there because that'd be some fun getaway time.
Oh, that's gonna be good time.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Fucking A. So thanks for listening to us talk tangential. Like hit us up lowdownbrown.gy@gmail.com or message to Facebook, Instagram, any of the stuff, and let us in a little snippet. Your big first one. I mean,
Yeah.
we could have literally said some of that stuff in a sentence, just wouldn't have the heart behind it. But you can let us
What
know
turned
what
you
was your
into,
what was your birth to horror, the birth to the madness. And
That's right.
I will say this because we went off topic, but like the reason that makes so much sense is because there is. And this isn't a negative thing, but there is something off in a potential good way.
Yes,
people that-
way.
No, I mean, it's a positive.
Yeah.
It's a positive side of that your brain can accept these things and still enjoy them, realizing that they're the horrors of humanity and then embellishment on current societal things. Like the fact that you see that as a representation of the world around you, like and accept that is that is a plausible explanation. Interpretation. That not every brain can do that. That's what I'm saying. It's off. It's not that you're mentally off. It's just that your brain works differently than somebody else's.
It's been a long time, but I just want to say one thing. What amazes me, what I love about horror, the amazing thing is that in a world that is and not just now, but has been for decades, in some form or fashion, fucking terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
And the beauty about horror is that on your own fucking terms, you can be terrified and safe at the
You're
same
in control.
time.
You're in complete
control of when your fear is coming.
So you
instead
own your
of letting
fear.
the world come into you all the time and affect you. That's what I love about it. It's like, oh yeah, I could be afraid, but I'm gonna fucking do it on my own terms and have fun while doing it. And that's kind of the beauty, always been for me at least, the beauty.
Well fucking said.
That's why I love going to cons, horror cons, because it's a bunch of safe sickos.
Oh, we didn't even bring into the new horror community with the cons. Like, I mean, we did, but like the amount, but going now is still different than 10 years ago.
But it's just a community now. It's amazing.
When it still felt
bigger
fringe
and bigger. Yeah.
When I first went in like 2010 or 2011, the first time I went to, it was busy, but it still had this fringe. It didn't have the, what do you call it?
Je ne sais quoi.
Camaraderie.
Oh, camaraderie. Camaraderie?
Yeah.
I can't believe you remember that. Wow.
Well, I titled the episode of the first Bad Monster we went to in 21,
wow.
I think. No, it was it was Sean's first Monster Mania.
Oh, was that
That's
camaraderie?
What it was. That's right. That's when that came.
That was a good
that was like
time.
Fuck, it was either right before COVID or directly after when they opened back up. But anyway,
it was directly after.
That's what the con circuit feels like now. It feels more, just open, basically.
Camaraderie, baby.
You could literally watch somebody have a conversation about this movie, and then 10 minutes later, you somehow start a conversation with them, and you can still talk about the same movie with just as much piss and vigor that you talked about the first time. And that's awesome.
It's passion.
Right? It's passion. So, thank you, and as always, embrace the madness.
Join us at GUIPodcast.com.